Friends, welcome to our today's session. Uh, so far, we have already understood what is capital gain, what is capital asset, and how we can divide the capital asset into two categories: short-term capital assets and long-term capital assets. Accordingly, we also know how to arrive at short-term capital gain and long-term capital gain. Friends, we have also understood the meaning of transfer and what are the transactions which are not regarded as transfer. All these concepts we have understood. Today, we'll be entering into a new area. We'll be understanding what is the scope of this capital gain, and also we'll be learning in which year this capital gain will be chargeable to tax. So these are the two areas where also tax. There are some possibilities of tax planning. Meaning, suppose we know a particular transaction will be taxed in a different year. So by using that provision, there is a possibility that we can defer the tax. Okay, tax liability will be there, but we will be able to defer it. That means instead of paying right now, we'll be paying it in a later time, in a different year, in a subsequent year. Okay, that possibility is there. So let me share the screen with you right now. Yeah, okay. Before sharing this screen, what I will do, I will take you the related section that we are going to learn is section 45. So let me take you to that section first of all. So you already know how to refer to a particular section. I am taking you to the Income Tax India website. I remember which section I told to understand the scope and year of chargeability.
45.
45. So we are learning that section. I am going to ARCS, Income Tax Act 1961. Here I can find out a particular section, section 45. Let us search. You see, this is section 45 on capital gain. Let us understand what it talks about. Okay. So this section, as you can see, contains various subsection and clauses. Okay. Okay. So broadly, you will understand this section will be talking about. Suppose you see here is a particular example I am talking about. It talks about if insurance compensation is received in this kind of situation like flood, riot, accidental fire, in which year it will be liable to tax. That has been talked in this particular subsection. Okay, so this is you see section 45(1) is the general subsection. It talks about it shall be deemed to the income of the previous year in which transport took place, and it says it will be chargeable to income tax under the head capital gain and shall be deemed to the income of the previous year in which transfer took place. So when transfer took place, in that year it will be chargeable to tax. But here you see different situations are there like insurance commission. Okay, now say if you talk about this thing, here this particular subsection talks about transfer of capital asset by way of conversion by the owner into stock in trade. So this also will be saying how it will be taxable, in which year it will be taxable. So these are certain provisions one by one. All these provisions will be discussed. Okay. Now I am going to share the screen with you right now. You are seeing it or not? It's not visible.
No, sir.
It's not visible. Okay. Yeah. So once again, I will tell you. So are you seeing it now? Section 45.
Yes, sir.
Okay. You know how to go there. Go to Income Tax Department website. Should I show you once again?
No, sir.
Okay, you can find it out. You see, this is section 45. It contains various provisions. So you see 45(1) is a general provision. It talks about in which year capital gain shall be chargeable to tax. You see 45(1)(a), it talks about when insurance compensation is received in certain situation when it will be chargeable to tax. Then you see, then 45(2) talks about when 45(2) you can see profit and gains from the transfer by of conversion by the owner of capital asset into stock in trade. When capital assets are converted into stock in trade, how that will be treated. So like this, various situations are covered here, right? So this, all these points will be discussing in a summarized form right now. Therefore, I am going to share the screen with you right now. Okay. Yeah. So now we'll be talking about the scope and the year of chargeability, section 45. First, you see 45(1), which talks about the general provisions, as I had already shown you that thing. It talks about, if you read, any profits or gains arising from transfer of the capital asset effected in the previous year shall be chargeable to income tax under this head in the previous year in which transfer took place. Okay, that means in the year when transfer took place, that capital gain will be chargeable to tax in that year. Okay, unless they're exempted. You already know there are certain sections under which some capital gains are exempted. So unless a particular capital gain is exempt, then it will be chargeable to tax in the year when transfer took place. Okay. So for example, let us say you want to sell a land, or one land we are talking about. Suppose you wanted to sell a land, and today you are making an agreement to sell the land. Agreement to sell has been made, but property has not been transferred. Capital asset has not been transferred. Okay. When it will be chargeable to tax? Chargeable to tax when actual transfer takes place, or when the on the date of actual sales, the tax liability will arise. Did you understand this concept? This is the general provision. First concept. Are you getting me?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now you have understood. So what is important here? The year of transfer. Right? It will be chargeable to tax in the year of transfer. Now, second concept we will be learning. This is slightly different. As you can see, section 45(1)(a). I had shown you just now. So you see, second provision talks about what? Insurance system. If you look at this particular subsection, it says where any person receives any money or other assets. So you know what is insurance compensation. Sometimes, if let us say assessee is suffering from something, let us say suffering from some loss, let us say suffering from some damages, whatever might be the reason. So insurance company may give compensation in the form of money, or may give compensation in the form of asset. Suppose assessee vehicle is lost, insurance company can give a new vehicle, or may give some money also. So where a person receives any money or other assets under an insurance from an insurance company on account of damage or destruction of capital asset as a result of flood, typhoon, hurricane, cyclone, earthquake, or similar kind of any loss of similar kind of nature, riot or civil disturbances, accidental fire, explosion, or because of action of an enemy. That means because of these reasons, if there is a loss and insurance company gives some money or some assets as a compensation, then there will be capital gain. Okay, when it will be taxable? In this kind of situation, it will be deemed to be income of such person in the previous year in which money or asset was received. Okay, in the year when money was received, let us say loss is incurred in the financial year 2021, but compensation is received in 21-22. So it shall be deemed to the income or deemed to the capital gain in the year 21-22. Is it clear? Is it clear to you? But you see, in this kind of situation, we need to understand one concept: what is fair value of consideration? That is important. What is the value of consideration? We need to know how much is the consideration. Friends, let me at this stage, let me tell you one thing. We'll be learning in detail. But right now, you understand how capital gain is computed. When any capital asset is transferred, we need to compute capital gain. You know, this capital assets can be long-term capital asset or short-term capital asset. Consequently, there can be long-term capital gain or short-term capital gain. How it is computed? First of all, we need to arrive at what is the full value of consideration. Full value of consideration. Are you getting it? That means how much money we are going to receive. Let us say you transport capital asset, you are getting compensation of 5 lakh rupees. So what is full value of consideration? 5 lakh rupees. Okay. Then therefrom, we'll be deducting, let us say, less expenses on transport. Let us say 5 lakh rupees you want, or 1 lakh rupees is the expenses on transport. The remaining amount is the net consideration. Okay, net consideration will find it. Therefrom, there will be some deductions. Two deductions are there. That is cost of acquisition and cost of improvement. These two things has to be deducted. After that, we will be getting capital gain. It can be short-term capital gain. It can be long-term capital gain. Depends upon whether the capital asset is a short-term capital asset or long-term. Understood? The format, how it is to be computed. Full value of consideration minus expenses of transfer. You will getting net consideration. Therefrom, cost of acquisition and cost of improvement has to be deducted. Okay. So, consideration means how much money you receive. And cost of improvement, you know how cost of acquisition money, how much money you have paid to acquire that thing, that is purchase price, and how much cost you have incurred to improve that asset. That also has to be done. Only thing you have to remember, we'll be learning it again subsequently. If it is a long-term asset, this cost of acquisition and cost of improvement should be indexed cost of acquisition or indexed cost of improvement. There will be indexation. That process should be learning later on. That means this cost of acquisition and cost of improvement will be increased. Did you understand this? Okay. Did you understand this?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Now I'll be telling you different situations we are learning. Now, if you have understood this thing broadly, let me once again take you to my slide. Now we are talking about, friends, insurance compensation. Insurance compensation also similar way will be computing what is the capital gain. In that case, what will be the full value of consideration? Let us say insurance company is giving you some money, then that is full value of consideration. Or insurance company has given you some asset. Okay, you lost a vehicle and vehicle is given to you. Then what is full value of consideration? Fair value of that vehicle is the full value of consideration. Okay, understood this concept? So it is necessary to understand what is the full value of consideration. Then only we can decide how to arrive at capital gain. Okay, this concept is clear. Insurance receipts.
Yes, sir.
Okay, fine. Thank you. Now, next concept we are talking about now, 45.2. It talks about conversion and treatment of capital asset into stock in trade. So there is a possibility that capital asset may be converted into stock in trade. That means it was your capital asset, but you decided to start a business and convert it into capital into stock in trade. Okay, for example, you are you had a house, but you started deciding, but you started a business of trading with houses. You'll be purchasing houses and selling with houses. Now that house you are converting into stock. So that is a possibility. Is it a capital asset converted into stock in trade? Or you got a jewelry. You got some jewelry. You want to start the jewelry business, and you are converting that jewelry into stock in trade. In this situation, how to compute capital gain? Okay. So here this particular provision says the profits or gains arising from conversion or treatment of capital asset as stock in trade will be chargeable to income tax in the previous year in which, here you have to carefully remember, stock in trade is sold or otherwise transferred. That means when we are converting a capital asset in a stock in trade, it is not going to, it is not chargeable to tax in that year. When it is chargeable to tax, when it is sold, let us say jewelry was there, you converted it to stock in trade. Okay, it is capital gain. It is a transfer, capital gain will arise. But this capital gain will be chargeable to tax in which year? When it is sold or otherwise transferred. When stock in trade is sold, there will be capital gain in that year. Did you understand?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Let us say you had converted some stock in trade in the year 2015-16. That is a capital gain. But that same stock in trade is sold in the year 21-22. So it will be chargeable to tax in which year? 21-22. Okay. So capital gain is capital gain was there earlier, but that will be chargeable to tax in a subsequent year when stock in trade is sold or otherwise transferred. This is how capital gain tax can be deferred. And in that year, when stock in trade is sold, there will be you can say two kinds of income. Because when you are selling that stock in trade, that is a business income. Yes or no? When you are selling that stock in trade, there is a business income that will be taxed under the head profit and gains of business and profession. And this capital gain will be again taxed under the head capital gain. But two different amounts will be there. How to compute capital gain? Here also we need to know what is the full value of consideration. What is the full value of consideration? The fair market value of the asset on the date of conversion. Okay, when asset is converted into stock, what is the fair market value of the asset? That shall be taken as the full value of consideration. Okay, and that will be taxed in subsequent year. Did you understand this?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Right. So when in the year of sale, finally when you're selling the stock in trade, there will be business income. That is your profit which you have had. Let us say you have booked in their accounting books. It shows stock in trade valuing, let us say 5 lakh rupees, but you're selling it as 5 lakh 50,000. So 50,000 rupees is your business profit. Okay. But your capital asset was valued 4 lakh, you converted into 5 lakh rupees. The difference 4 to 5, 1 lakh rupees is your capital gain. Okay, total income is 1.5 lakh. 1 lakh is capital gain and 50,000 rupees is your business profit. Hope this is clear. Now let us see the same thing I'm explaining you with the help of this chart. So when capital asset is converted into stock in trade, there will be capital gains and there will be business incomes also. What is business income? Sale price minus the value of stock in trade. What is capital gain? Fair market value of the date of conversion minus indexed cost of acquisition or indexed cost of improvement. That will be your capital gain. Okay, how to compute capital gain in subsequent classes we'll be learning. But basic idea, as I had shown you in the whiteboard, this is how capital gain is computed. Next concept, transfer of beneficial interest in securities. Now we are learning section 45(2)(a). Transfer of beneficial interest in securities. Securities, you know, securities means shares, debentures, bonds, etc. They are the securities here. If someone is having beneficial interest in the securities and it is transferred by the depository or participant. So depository and participants, they may transfer the securities on behalf of the beneficial owner. You may be the beneficial owner and the securities are held in demat form. And on your behalf, or you can say, on your behalf, the depository or participants are transferring it through a broker. Okay, even if you are the beneficial owner, technically, it is the depository participant who is the owner. Okay, securities are there in the name of the depository or participant. So in this case, the securities are transferred. Then it will not be kept a capital gain in the hands of depository or depository participant. It will be a capital gain in the hands of the beneficial owner. This concept you have to remember. Even if technically depository is the owner or participant is the owner, but beneficial owner is the real investor. Are you getting it? So it will be taxable in the hands of the beneficial owner in the previous year in which transfer took place. And this shall not be regarded as the income of the depository, who is deemed to be the registered owner. Okay. Under section 10(1) of the Depository Act, registered owners are the depository, but beneficial owners are the investors. Suppose we have invested some money and depository is the beneficial owner. When depository transfers this particular investment, particular security, that will not be taxable in the hands of depository, taxable in the hands of beneficial owner, that too in the year when it is transferred. Are you understanding it? Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So there is a possibility that you might be frequently buying. Today you purchase some shares, next day again purchase some more shares, next day again purchase some more shares. In that situation, there might be difficulty to arrive at the cost of acquisition, because at different point of time, different number of shares are purchased at different price. How to arrive at the cost of acquisition? And similarly, when these shares are sold or transferred, they may be sold at different dates at different prices. Okay, it is very difficult to establish the selling price with the purchase price, to establish the relationship between the selling price and the purchase price. Therefore, it has been provided in that situation how to know the cost of acquisition. We'll apply the FIFO method, that is first in, first out method. Meaning, we'll assume shares which are acquired first are sold first. Okay, and shares which are acquired last are sold last. Suppose today you purchase 100 shares, next day another 100 shares, third day another 100 shares, and 150 shares will be sold. Right now, the 150 shares will say out of first acquisition 100 shares, out of next acquisition 50 shares. We'll say sequentially we are selling. First shares which are acquired fast, they are sold fast. This is the concept of first in, first out. Understood this concept? Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Now, next concept is distribution of capital asset on dissolution of a firm, association, a person, or body of individuals. When a capital asset is distributed, when the firm is dissolved, in that case, how it will be taxed? In this case, when capital asset is distributed on dissolution of the firm, AOP or BOI, it shall be chargeable to tax as the income of the firm, AOP, BOI, etc. on the previous year on which transfer took place. That means today, let us say firm is distributing, assets are transferred. Firm is transferring this asset, let us say, to a partner. Then when this transfer is taking place, it will be chargeable to tax in the year when this transfer is taking place. In the same year, it will be chargeable to tax, that too in whose hand? In the hands of the farm, because farm is transferring the capital asset. In that situation, how to arrive at the value of consideration? We'll see what is the fair value of the asset on the date of transfer. Let us say two people, A and B, have a partnership firm. And today they were transferring the asset. The firm is closed. Today they are transferring the asset to each of the partners. So today we will see what is the fair value of the asset that will be treated as full value of the consideration. Okay, it will assume that firm has received that much of money. Then minus cost of acquisition, cost of improvement, you will be getting capital gain. So this is our concept number 5, the distribution of capital asset on dissolution of the firm, AOP or BOP. Concept 6, Here, this concept talks about introduction of capital asset as capital contribution. Let us say one partner is contributing capital asset to the firm as capital. In that situation, how it will be chargeable to capital gain tax? This also amounts to transport. Suppose I am a partner of the firm, I am introducing some capital asset as my capital. Okay, suppose I am contributing my building as firm's capital. So that will amount to transport. Okay, and when it will be taxable? It will be taxable in the previous year in which transfer took place. Right. Now, what will be the full value of consideration in this kind of situation? The amount which is recorded in the books of accounts of the firm. Suppose I am giving my building and the firm is recording in his books of account building worth 9 lakh rupees. Then 9 lakh rupees is the full value of consideration. Meaning, my consideration is 9 lakh rupees. Then what is the cost of acquisition, cost of improvement? I will deduct. I will be getting capital gain. Understood this?
Yes, sir.
Yes. Point number 7. 7 is about compulsory acquisition. You know, many times government compulsorily acquire the property. Suppose someone is having some property and government compulsorily has acquired that property. The government will be giving some compensation. So in that situation, in case of compulsory acquisition, capital gains shall be chargeable to tax in the previous year when compensation is received. Not in the year when government has passed the order. When compensation is received, in that year it will be chargeable to tax. Okay. Sometimes what happens? The person may not be satisfied with the compensation awarded by the government. It may go to court of law, and court may award an enhanced compensation. Court may say, no, not that is okay. You have to enhance the compensation. Enhanced compensation is also a capital gain. But in case of enhanced compensation, there will not be any cost of acquisition. Cost of acquisition shall be treated as nil. That means the entire enhanced compensation shall be your capital gain. For example, let us say your property worth 10 lakh rupees is acquired by government. Government acquired it. Government, let us say, paid you 11 lakh rupees. So 11 lakh rupees is your compensation minus your cost of acquisition, cost of improvement, let us say 10 lakh rupees. So 1 lakh rupees your capital gain tax you will be paying. Okay. Subsequently, you approached court of law and court awarded another 2 lakh rupees as enhanced compensation. So for this 2 lakh rupees, additional 2 lakh rupees, there will be no cost of acquisition. Cost of acquisition shall be nil. That is entire additional enhanced compensation shall be treated as capital gain. Understood this concept? Concept of enhanced compensation. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Fine. Thank you. Now, sometimes what happens? Government gives some compensation as an interim order, or court may direct that is an interim order. So, for the time being, this much of compensation should be paid. That compensation which is received as an interim order is not taxable at that point of time. It will be taxable in the previous year when the final order of the court is passed. Okay. So when the final order is passed, at that point of time, the compensation which is received, which has been received, that will be chargeable to tax. Any compensation which is received as a result of an interim order is not chargeable to capital gain tax in the year when interim order is received. Okay, did you understand? Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, friends, there is also a possibility that that might be reduction of enhanced compensation. That means courts have ordered a reduction. No, this is not the right compensation. Compensation should be reduced. In that case, assessee might have already paid tax, but later on, if the compensation is received, what assessee can do? He can file a rectification. Income tax return which is filed that can be rectified. So assessee may apply for rectification because compensation is awarded less. So consequently, tax payable will be less, and he may claim a refund for this. Okay, if tax has already been paid and subsequently compensation is reduced, then the return can be rectified and tax refund can be claimed. Right? Friends, sometimes what happens in case of death of the transferor, suppose one person's property has been acquired by the government, but by the time he receives compensation, he might have died, and his legal heir must have received the money. In that situation, the capital gain shall be chargeable to tax in the hands of the person who receives the compensation. Okay, meaning it will be taxable in the hands of the recipient who receives the compensation. He will be paying capital gain tax. Understood this?
Yes, sir.
Now, under section 45, this is the last concept we are learning, concept number 8. Taxability of the capital gain in case of specified agreement. So you might be knowing sometimes some individuals, HUFs, they enter into specified agreement for development of the project, meaning they may surrender the land to a particular builder or a developer, and the builder will be developing the project and finally give them some apartments or some compensation. Right? Suppose an assessee, being an individual or Hindu undivided family, who is entering into a specified agreement for development of the project, the capital gain will arise in this kind of transaction, and it will be chargeable to income tax in the previous year in which the certificate of completion of the whole project or part of the project is issued by the competent authority. When the competent authority issues a certificate, the project is completed. At that year, it will be understood it is being transferred for the purpose of capital gain. Okay, practically, the individual at HUF might have handed over the possession. So, under the definition of the capital gain, that amounts to transfer, and he should be paying tax in the year when when property is transferred. But considering the fact that it may cause genuine hardship to the individuals and Hindu undivided family, because practically he has not received anything, he has only handed over the property, and he will be receiving the property when the project gets completed. So therefore, this particular subsection 5A has been inserted, wherein it says in this kind of situation, when the capital asset is transferred to for a development of a project under a specified agreement, it will be chargeable to tax in the previous year when the certificate of completion is issued by the competent authority. At that year only, it will be chargeable to tax. Okay, understood these concepts? So let me quickly recap the 8 concepts that we have learned. Let us quickly recap that thing. First one, the normal provision is that capital gain will arise, it will be chargeable to tax in the year when transfer took place, unless it is exempted. Okay, so year of transfer is important. But in case of insurance receipt, it's not year of transfer. When the compensation is received in that year, it will be chargeable to tax. Okay, and in case of stock in trade, it will be chargeable to tax when the stock in trade is sold. It might be sold, or it may be again transferred. It may be again converted into capital asset. That possibility is also there. When it is sold or otherwise transferred, it will be chargeable to tax in case of stock in trade. Now, so in that year, there is a possibility of 2 kinds of income. There may be capital gain, there can be business income or business loss. Then, in case of transfer of beneficial interest in securities, so capital gain will arise in the hands of the beneficial owner, and in the year when transfer took place. So it is the beneficial owner who are responsible for paying capital gain tax. Then distribution of capital asset on the event of dissolution of a farm, AOP or POI. In that case, it will be chargeable to tax in the previous year in which transfer took place. Okay, and the fair market value of the asset shall be considered as the full value of consideration. The sixth point is that when asset is introduced as capital contribution,